coming up at midday.
We've all seen the gas price spike this week. Today, we're hearing about when those prices might return to last week's levels. A former South Bend police chief might be in the clear of any criminal charges, but the saga surrounding taped phone calls in his department is not over yet. This is a sight not seen in decades, an American flag flying over an American embassy in Cuba. But it's reality after just a short time ago.
First, fast, accurate. You're watching WSBT 22 News at midday.
We have breaking news just into our newsroom. The man convicted of planning a deadly Indianapolis home explosion has just been sentenced to life in prison without parole. A St. Joseph County jury finding Mark Leonard guilty of 54 counts, including murder last month. The prosecutors say he blew up this home to collect insurance money. The blast ultimately, though, killed 2 neighbors and damaged dozens of homes. South Bend's former police chief officially cleared this midday of any wrongdoing in the ongoing wiretapping controversy. A special prosecutor in Evansville was appointed to the case in April of this year, and he says he is not going to file charges against former Chief Darrell Boykins, mainly, he says, because the U.S. attorney already reviewed the case and chose not to file charges.
The case has already been investigated. I didn't find anything new in it. And another agency, who would be the more appropriate agency to look at it, decided to not file charges.
This, of course, all stems from phone conversations that were recorded at the South Bend Police Department 4 years ago. A federal judge ruled 7 of those 8 conversations were recorded illegally. Shortly after, Metro Homicide Commander Tim Corbett filed a complaint against those involved in the scandal, specifically naming Boykins. This decision does not mean we're any closer to hearing the content of those recordings, though. 2 other cases at the state and federal level will determine if we ever hear what's on that one legally recorded tape. There's no timeline on when a judge will make a decision on those cases. Now, another part of this case still needing a resolution is a libel lawsuit filed by 4 police officers against a South Bend councilman. That suit claims Henry Davis Jr. lied about them in a letter to the Justice Department in 2012. The letter claimed the officers used racial slurs on the recorded conversations and covered up criminal investigations. A St. Joe County trial court originally dismissed this case, but last week the Indiana Court of Appeals reinstated the lawsuit. Now, so far, taxpayers have paid more than $1 million to cover attorney fees and settle all lawsuits in this case. New at midday, we just learned the Indiana Department of Health is now investigating another possible E. coli case. This brings to 6 the number of cases under a possible E. coli outbreak in and around Rochester. The state says only 2 of those cases are confirmed E. coli. A spokesperson continues to say there's no definite source pinpointed. We're expecting more answers this afternoon, and we'll have the very latest on WSBT 22 first at 4. Happening right now, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management in LaGrange County keeping a very close eye on chemicals being discharged from the Wolcottville wastewater treatment plant. The plant discharges into the north branch of the Elkhart River. We're told a chemical called acidic ferric chloride is in that discharge. Anywhere between 1,200 and 1,400 gallons of the chemical released inside the plant, and an unknown amount got into the plant's discharge. The chemical can be dangerous to humans. The agency is asking you to keep children, as well as pets and livestock, out of the water and avoid the north branch of the Elkhart River. New at midday, 2 men facing charges this midday in connection to a burglary at a gun store, Indiana Arm and Ammo, this week. We're now told 19 guns were stolen. 3 of those guns were found Wednesday when police arrested these 2 men, James Johnson and Dexter Moore Jr. Police say they are actively searching for the other 16 missing stolen guns. Right now, the prosecutor's office is reviewing reports. Formal charges are expected to be filed. Also new at midday, charges will not be filed against a homeowner in a deadly home invasion. The prosecutor's office says the 73-year-old homeowner's actions in shooting 45-year-old Curtis Trent constitutes justifiable homicide. We're told the homeowner arrived at his home last month in the 400 block of Corby Boulevard and found Trent inside. Police say there were signs of forced entry. The 2 got into a fight. During that time, a shot was fired, by whom we don't know. Trent died from his wounds. A baby is dead. 2 children are hurt following a crash with a buggy. It happened late last night on 600 West in Topeka. Police say the driver of a Chevy hit the back of the buggy, throwing an 11-month-old girl out of that buggy. She died at the scene. A 2-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl were also in the buggy and airlifted to a Fort Wayne hospital. The driver of the Chevy, 18-year-old Caleb Wingard, was booked into the LaGrange County Jail for being a minor in possession and ticketed on a number of other charges. The U.S. and Cuba taking another big steps toward normalizing relations today when the U.S. reopened its embassy in Havana. Despite the new policies, real differences, though, remain between these two countries. And as Craig Boswell reports from Washington, there is opposition to the Obama administration's attitudes toward Cuba here at home.
Not since 1961 has the U.S. flag flown over an embassy in Havana. That changed today.
For more than half a century, U.S.-Cuban relations have been suspended in the amber of Cold War politics.
Secretary of State John Kerry says the move makes it easier for the two governments to engage with one another.
The leaders in Havana and the Cuban people should also know that the United States will always remain a champion of democratic principles and reforms.
Cuban diplomats here at their new embassy in Washington have their own message for the American government. Lift the trade embargoes restricting tourism and business between the two countries.
There cannot be normal relations between two countries when there are sanctions, economic sanctions that damage the Cuban people and damage even the interests of the American people.
Kerry reiterated that the Obama administration is in favor of lifting the embargo, but only Congress can take that action, and many there oppose it.
He has made the argument that if the embargo hasn't worked for 50 years, why shouldn't we try something new? My question is, why hasn't he made a similar argument to the Castro regime?
Senator Rubio and others have vowed to block any move to lift the trade embargo as long as Cuba continues to oppress its people. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Now, it could be a while before the U.S. sends an ambassador to its new embassy in Cuba. Congress is also vowing to block the nomination of whomever President Obama picks to fill this post. WSBT 22 meteorologist Carrie Peugeot joins us with proof that summer is not quite over just yet.
It's not. And if you're outside, I mean, you don't really need more proof than that.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
It's a lot more humid today, and we have some much warmer temperatures, especially in the next couple of days. Take a look at our temperatures now. Just at lunchtime, we're 82 degrees in Rochester. We have 80 in Plymouth, 81 in Elkhart and South Bend, and those upper 70s along the lakeshore. So just at lunchtime, if we're already past the 80-degree mark, you can bet we're headed to those mid and upper 80s today. We had a couple of scattered showers really early this morning. Now what we're watching are those scattered showers that are moving across Illinois and Lake Michigan. They're not real significant, but you will still notice some of those thicker clouds and occasionally a scattered shower this afternoon through this evening and overnight tonight. But again, I want to stress these are not going to be enough showers to really cancel plans. You'll just have to be watching for them. Winds are definitely out of the southwest. That southwest direction today is bumping up our humidity and our heat. Of course, we are talking 80s since we have those already. We should be in the mid 80s for high temperatures today, but it gets even hotter as we get into tomorrow and on Sunday. Very summer-like weekend forecast, and I'll have more on that in just a few minutes.
All right, Carrie, thanks very much. And I officially apologize for this bad news, but that price spike at the gas pump we've seen this week might be staying a while. The spike is due to the largest refinery in the Midwest having an equipment malfunction. Now, today, a Purdue University expert says prices may ease some, but could remain fairly high until these problems at the BP Whiting refinery are fixed. And plant officials say that could be at least a month. People online are questioning how one refinery could impact the price so much. And Michigan State Senator John Prose in Berrien County is asking the state's Attorney General to investigate.
The Attorney General has the responsibility to make sure everybody's playing by the rules and that it's fair. He has the responsibility of looking out for the consumers in the state of Michigan and consumer protection. And that's really what I'm asking him to do.
Some stations spiked their prices 60 cents a gallon over just 2 to 3 days around the area. Cedar Point says it's not certain when it will reopen a roller coaster that hit and killed a park guest. The park says a 45-year-old man from Ohio had jumped into a restricted area of the Raptor roller coaster yesterday, apparently looking for his cell phone. Moments later, he was hit by one of the coaster's trains and died at the scene. People who were on that ride at the time say they're very disturbed by what they saw.
That ride's really fast, and that guy, he got knocked out, and like his skull got cracked, and he was down there for at least probably 20 minutes, half hour.
No one else was hurt, and police continue that investigation. This man, convicted of murdering 3 people in a Mishawaka home nearly 17 years ago, will not get a third trial. That is Wayne Coops. A panel of 3 federal appeals court judges rejecting his appeal. Wayne Coops got the death sentence for the September 1998 deaths of his wife, Beth, her ex-husband, Rick Molesky, and Beth and Rick's 10-year-old son, Aaron. Beth's 13-year-old son found all 3 of those deaths at Coop's home in Mishawaka. Now, Wayne Coops was tried twice, found guilty, and sentenced to death a second time. Coops claimed his death sentence was unconstitutional, among other things, because he says evidence was excluded. This Southwest Michigan teacher in jail accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Police arrested Terry Miller yesterday. He's been a Centerville teacher for 11 years. Police say the relationship dates back to 2012, but won't say anything about the student. Miller is a well-known teacher in the district, graduated from Centerville High School, even organized a trip for 8th graders each year to Washington, D.C. Police believe he used his position as a teacher to force this sexual contact with this student. Goshen's mayor issuing an executive order to give more protection to the LGBT community. The mayor's order adds sexual orientation and gender identity to the city's hiring policy. This comes just 1 week after the city council tabled a proposal on an amendment to change the city's civil rights ordinance and 2 resolutions. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, there will be plenty of events available. One notable event, the Osceola Bluegrass Festival. It starts today, runs through Sunday at Fern Hunsberger Park. In addition to the live music, there's plenty to eat, lots of food there, and other activities for the entire family. And if you're looking a little higher than that, how about some high-flying fun going on in Kosciuszko County this weekend? The 3rd annual Air Show of Warsaw kicks off today. This year will feature a flying tribute to the veterans of World War II. The show takes place at the Warsaw Airport all weekend long. A dramatic rescue and new dramatic video of deadly explosions at a Chinese port city. We'll have that just ahead.
And we had a few rain showers early this morning. We're tracking a few more for you later today. I'll have more on that coming up next.
Now, your accurate first alert weather forecast with meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
We had a few rain showers early this morning. Since then, it's been pretty quiet, but if you've been outside, you know this is a big change compared to the other 4 days this week where we had mainly clear skies and not a lot of humidity. The humidity's up and a lot more clouds across the area. This is our first alert weather cam in South Bend from St. Joseph Health Systems. You will see still a lot of clouds this afternoon, some hazy sunshine at times, but we're still talking a couple of showers. There hasn't been much active weather really since about 7, 8 o'clock this morning, but you can see a couple of blips of green over Lake Michigan, a few scattered showers still this afternoon, and a few more as we get into tonight. The coverage, first of all, not impressive. The amount of water, probably not enough to count for your yard or your garden, but we will see a few of those scattered showers across the area. One thing that has changed as we've gotten into this pattern where we do have the chance for at least a little rain, we certainly have had the humidity go up, of course, and the actual temperatures. 81 at lunchtime in Warsaw, 82 in Rochester. We have the upper 70s along the lake shore, and we even have those 80s showing up in Elkhart and South Bend. Now, the dew points over the last couple of days have been in the 50s. Usually this time of year, dew points are in the 50s. It usually feels pretty good. Once we get those dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s, that is when it starts to feel uncomfortable and we start to hear people complain about how muggy and sticky it feels. So as the temperatures go up today and even more so tomorrow, mid 80s today and upper 80s tomorrow, those dew points will be high as well. So it's definitely going to be a middle of the summer type forecast for you. If you are thinking about the beach or the pool, I mean, really warm conditions for that, but not the crystal clear sunny skies. You can see a lot of the clouds. The bright white here on the satellite and radar is where we see the thicker clouds. Where you get those pockets of darker gray, that's where we've been getting some of that hazy sunshine. And we had that little bit of rain this morning. We're still watching some of these patchy, very light showers off to our northwest. We'll see a few of those this afternoon, and then skies really clear to the north of that. And that's what I expect this afternoon as well. We still could get a chance of rain tonight, but also as we get into the day tomorrow. But I want to stress the chances of rain are not major. I mean, we're not looking at major rainy conditions. We're just talking in this green areas, getting a couple of scattered showers the rest of today, tonight, and during the day tomorrow. Best chance tomorrow will probably be in the afternoon, but we're still looking at a decent amount of sunshine and definitely all that heat and humidity. So your first alert weather forecast for the rest of today looks like this. A couple of scattered showers in between, we'll see that sunshine. High temperatures around 85, which really isn't a stretch since we have some spots already 82 right now, 81, 82. We will stay near 70 tonight. Again, a couple of scattered showers are possible, but the coverage will be pretty minimal. And tomorrow, a few scattered showers, but mainly the main theme of the weekend will be hot and sticky. 87 tomorrow and on Sunday. Our best chance of rain gets here when we get into the day on Monday.
Yeah, still warm. Get outside, enjoy.
Some kids, it's their last weekend before school starts.
Absolutely.
So at least it's summer-like, yeah.
All right, Gary, thanks very much. Coming up, the results are in this midday from tests on a Colorado river filled with wastewater after a leak at a gold mine.
First to cover breaking news with Bob Montgomery, your accurate first alert weather forecast with meteorologist Carrie Peugeot. You're watching WSBT 22 News at midday.
We're getting a look today at some of the dramatic amateur video of the explosions at a Chinese port city. Take a look.
I think we are dead. Let's go down.
The blast killed at least 56 people and injured more than 720 others. Several firefighters are still missing this midday, but this morning, rescuers pulled one of those firefighters alive from the rubble. He's being treated for several injuries. The blast happened Wednesday night and originated in shipping containers owned by a company authorized to handle hazardous materials. New results from the EPA show the amount of lead in Colorado's Animas River was more than 3,500 times the limit called safe for humans. The arsenic levels were 823 times that limit, and cadmium levels 33 times higher. EPA workers accidentally released 3 million gallons of the contaminated wastewater last week while inspecting the Gold King mine. The EPA is taking full responsibility for that leak. Malaysia says one of the debris, or most of it, found in the Maldives is not from a plane and is unrelated to the missing Malaysian jet. Last week, Malaysia said a part of a wing found in the Indian Ocean island of Reunion was confirmed to be from Flight 370. That plane had disappeared March of last year with nearly 240 people on board. More debris was found following the partial wing discovery, but again, Malaysia officials saying it is not from their plane. Our check on Wall Street this midday finds the Dow is up 43 points at 17,451. The Nasdaq is down slightly, 3 points at 5,030. Despite the cooler weather most of this week, summer is not over yet, and Carrie has that proof coming up.
What a roller coaster of a week we've had here in the test kitchen. And before it wraps up, we've got one last fair favorite.
Here's today's recipe from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen on WSBT 22 News at midday.
As our week-long sleuth of fair food wraps up, we knew we couldn't forget the granddaddy of them all. It's the one we can usually smell cooking all the way from the parking lot. I'm talking about a good old-fashioned sausage, pepper, and onion sandwich. We start by sauteing red and green pepper strips along with a large onion in a bit of vegetable oil with a touch of salt. Once this cooks down a little, we toss in some Italian sausage that we've cut into pieces. And what gives this that irresistible midway flavor is when the sausage simmers in its juices and the veggies soak up all that flavor. When the sausage is done and the veggies are caramelized, maybe finish it off with a splash of beer before divvying it up onto a crusty roll. Don't be surprised if your troops start hovering around, cause it smells that good. You can eat this as is or top it off with a little spaghetti sauce. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our sausage, pepper, and onion sandwich, along with all of this week's favorites, like our root beer dogs, caramel corn, lemon shake-up, and elephant ears. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where we had a blast sharing all these fair foods. And every one of them will have you saying, ooh, it's so good.
We're getting breaking news just into the newsroom, hearing about a bad crash, State Road 331 in southern St. Joseph County. This is near Shively Road, almost to the Marshall County line. We're told there are injuries. Shively Road from Riley to Tyler is shut down. MedFlight has also been called. We have a crew headed that way. We'll keep you updated, especially at WSBT.com. Carrie, weather today,
yeah,
a little warmer.
A little. And,
warmer.
We have the more humid conditions. We're also tracking a little bit of water in terms of some scattered showers. This shouldn't be a big issue, but if you're outside this afternoon, you may run into a couple of scattered showers. A lot of heat this weekend, upper 80s.
All right, Carrie, thanks very much. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at WSBT 22 first at 4.